Growing up was a very difficult time for me. I didn't have any friends at school, just people who liked to walk all over me and treat me like dirt. That's how I sort of came to believe that I was just dirt. I always felt that I was a mistake and no one would ever like me for who I really was. I decided I was worthless. When I was 7, my parents split up. At first I was too young to understand what was happening, but when I did, I felt so abandoned because although both of my parents lived in the same town, I hardly ever saw my dad, and I felt he made no effort with me. When it was my turn to stay with him, he would just drop me off at my granny's house. I seemed to be an inconvenience to him. My mother would get really frustrated and start taking her anger out on me by calling me names and hitting me. And as if that weren't enough, my mates at school were teasing me for being overweight and smart. I felt so unlovable. If my own mother and father treated me the way that they did, how could I ever expect or even dream of anyone else caring for me? So by the age of 12 or 13, I was suicidal. I was so upset all the time. I hated my life and I hated who I was. My self-image was practically non-existent. The only path that I thought I could take, the only road, the only option that was open for me was to take my own life. I attempted suicide twice. Then, just after my 14th birthday, my mother went missing. A week later, she was found in the river. All I could think about was, if my own mother couldn't bear to live with me, I must really be terrible. I had to move in with my dad, who was like a stranger to me. I was still suicidal. But my dad had a friend. I didn't like her much at the time, but she asked me to go to a church meeting with her. Reluctantly, I went, and my whole outlook on life has changed. I met people who looked genuinely happy and had true smiles on their faces, and I wanted to know why. Shortly after seeing them, I felt this overwhelming peace, and I knew these people had something I didn't have. It was God. That day, I asked Jesus into my life, and his love has changed my life. He has given me a reason and a purpose to live. I no longer feel suicidal, and I am so grateful for all the friends God has placed in my life to encourage me. That was about 4 years ago now, and I still feel the same way. God has given me a reason for living.